Today's guest has no savings at all and has all of his money in investments. We're going to find out why. Joining us is social media sensation Tom Wickstead. Tom, welcome to the Money Games podcast, man. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I've seen some of your esteemed guests and I'm far from it. So you're really scraping the barrel here, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, no, thanks for the invite.
Mate, you are doing yourself a disjustice, I think, because I've been loving your no-nonsense approach to finance on Insta. It's been class.
Yeah, it's going really well. I probably started it, I reckon, 10 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, something like that. And it really just came off the back of me I've always had a massive interest in finance. Speak to a lot of people about it. Was going to write a blog, which I think you did previously anyway. Started writing just after Christmas, actually. Just on things around saving and just trying to contextualize things a little bit more because it helps me and helps me think about things, and friends are asking stuff like that. And then I thought, why don't I start posting videos on it? Quite enjoy that sort of thing. Posted a few videos and things have kind of snowballed a little bit from there. So, but it's weird because I'm not from like a social media sort of thing, and it's incredibly scary when you put yourself out there into the world especially around a topic that can be as complex as finance. You suddenly start to think, what you're doing it for, what's the reason behind it, and then people start commenting and maybe people say things that you didn't expect, and you're like, oh shit. And then but no, going really well.
You just wait until the comments.
Well, I've been called, I don't know if you can, I've been called a twat 3 times so far. So I believe that's quite successful.
Oh, that's low.
Oh, is it?
Lower end of the spectrum. They'll come for personal features, bits about your life. It's just happened. I think it's really interesting because I was listening to Cody Sanchez talk about this earlier today on there. There's a new episode.
She's good. Yeah,
she's brilliant. And she was saying it just comes with the territory. Like you just eventually have to desensitize yourself from it. And I've done that now because it is endless. And I think people are angry. They have something to say. It's not a reflection of them. Obviously behind a keyboard, it's a lot harder to keep your emotions in.
Yeah, 100%.
I think if you're seeing you in the street, they probably wouldn't be saying those things.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
and
it's
if
weird.
they did, then it might be a bit different type of conversation. But
and even to the point of I thought, it doesn't like affect you or you don't think about it. But when you see something, you do think, oh shit, yeah, it does have an impact. So God forbid people who are really superstars or whatever, what they see.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I think I just don't look anymore. I reply to a few things that I like, and if I see it immediately, I'm just like, bing, next. And some part of my brain just sort of blocks it all out. I think you have to get to that point. But back to your content, because it is wicked, man. And the reason why it's wicked is because it's so low friction but high value.
Oh, thank you.
So low friction for you because you're out having a nice jolly up walk, often stopping at the pub for a pint. Like having that kind of, for you, it's easy for you to create.
Yeah, 100%. Like when I said at the start, like I always wanted to write about finance, and then video is just so much more easier, and you can think about things more clearly. I think when I'm walking and talking about different problems and trying to think about them in my mind, and then the real reason, one of the real reasons. So if I just explain, so always been interested in finance. Went to a incredibly established university called Leeds Met, which is, if you're not from the UK, definitely not an established university.
I actually looked at Leeds Met.
Did you?
Yeah. It was a toss-up between Southampton and Leeds. I literally was so close to pushing the button of Leeds, and then I went to Southampton, and then basically all of my mates decided to go to Southampton, and that was it.
Yeah, then done. Yeah. Leeds is a cracking city. I've never been to Southampton. Yeah, Leeds is a brilliant city. So always a massive interest in finance, did business studies at university, which is a complete waste of time. Because if you're going to start a business. You don't need to go
learn from someone who started a business. yeah.
So I actually watched a TV show called $1 Million Traders, which was on BBC One.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that back in the day.
Yeah, so they recorded it during 2008. And there was three people on it. It was a guy called Lex Van Dam, Anton Creel, and a guy who owns Real Vision. Called Raoul Pal. He's pretty.
Raoul Pal, yeah. Wow,
so he was on there. we all got like an interest around, just fascinated about how the world of finance works. And you can own a business, you can invest in a business, and you can go to the supermarket and you can look on the label and you see it's Procter and Gamble and you own a little tiny slither of that company. Found that really fascinating. Then I did a CFA exam called the IMC, Investment Management Certificate, which is basically like a swimming badge for finance. It's like just not, you've got like level 1, level 2, level 3, and then you've got the bottom thing. So I did that, and then started applying for different things in finance. So did the usual, trying to get into investment banks and that sort of thing. But I just, you imagine if you're Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and you're seeing little old Tom Wickstead from Leeds Met, with 2 B's and a C, and I don't know what I was thinking. But from after university, just really started, sounds so boring, but just started chipping away at investments, building up.
So you started young?
Yeah, really started young, yeah. With little amount as well. Nothing crazy, because you're broke, you're a university student just after university. So continued on that path. And I think we were speaking before in the lift around podcasts and that sort of thing. One of the things I really learned from investing, which I wish I can take into other parts of my life, is how important that consistency is. When you've got £500 in a stocks and shares ISA, nothing's really happening.
No.
When you first start a podcast or a business or whatever, nothing's really happening, but it's just chipping away every single month, every single day, whatever it is. And it just suddenly snowballs. And then you wake up and you go, fuck me, I've got 100K there. And then suddenly it gets even bigger and bigger and snowballs. And it's just the most insane thing. So I was really lucky, started early. And then in terms of posting my little deranged thoughts on social media, is speaking to a number of people. I mean, you'll see this more than I will, but even just think, because we're in this world and we kind of understand it. All right, we don't work at investment banks or anything like that, but we're in this world and we kind of get it. 95% of people are just walking down the street oblivious to all of this.
Yeah.
And it's scary thinking that a lot of people can change their own financial circumstances by paying a little bit of attention. Not like, you don't have to, do a financial chartered analyst, degree or whatever it is. Just paying a little bit of attention to it can just change the trajectory of your life.
Oh, mate, it's mad. So Moneybox did a study. It's 30 minutes. I think it's a month. 30 minutes a month. It might be a week. I'll leave a link to the study in the show notes below, but your net worth over time is above 50% of the person that doesn't spend the same amount of time. So that's 30 minutes. Yeah. You just look at your phone screen time on TikTok and you got it right there.
Exactly.
And just, it can be listening to a podcast like this. And if you're doing that, great, because you're here and hopefully stay past half an hour.
Yeah.
But that's all you need, and you'll be miles better off over a long period of time. Again, it's compounding not just your money, but your knowledge too.
Yeah.
And that's going to pay off massively over time.
And even to the point, like I was speaking to recently, and I was talking about pensions, and obviously you cover pensions a huge amount. And I was asking them, who's it with? And, and they were like, oh, I don't know. Have you logged in? No, I haven't. No. And you're just thinking, just want to shake them. Like, let's just wake the fuck up, because you will get to a point in your life at 70, 80.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know the stats, you probably do better than me, but I think the average pension pot in the UK, is it like 50 grand, 60 grand or something?
It's 90.
Like? Oh, is it? Yeah.
90 for men, and then it's around 60, 70 for women. Yeah.
Which is just, I mean,
it's mind blowing.
It's unbelievable. So, so me posting some of this stuff, and like I said, my sort of deranged thoughts, and I do try and contextualize and think about things when I'm posting these videos. And if someone listens and watch, fair play. I've no end game with it. I think we said just before, like, what's the end game with it? Genuinely just seeing where it goes.
Yeah, it's class, man. It's class.
I have found myself, and I bet you probably have when you first started, and I hate to talk about social media because I'm just not that sort of like type of person, but there's just this dopamine thing, isn't there?
Yep.
Where you post a video and you go, fuck me, that's done well. I want to try and replicate the same thing, and then you do another one, it doesn't do as well, or and it's just this chasing game.
Yeah, it's a raising bar.
Yeah,
100%. I think that happened to me for the first year or so, definitely, and now I couldn't care.
Yeah.
I don't look at the views anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, that did well. What I like to do now is I just decipher whether or not that topic's any good to carry on talking about.
Yeah.
And whether or not people want to know about it more. That's all I really look at. Because you can I end up sitting there like literally refreshing the thing and going, oh,
were there any comments
and I'm like, what am I doing? And so much of your life gets spent on there, and I just get dragged on my phone. I now have apps on my phone that stop me going on social media past certain points of the day. It has been a game changer. I have something called Brick, which I put on
I've heard
my
of Brick.
wall.
Yeah,
it's great, man. So like I turn it on once it's turned on. I physically have to. So it's good for me in the mornings because I used to sit in bed for like an hour and a half, just sort of anger typing back to comments which were nasty to me and stuff like that, and it's not good for you. It's not good for your brain at 6 a.m. in the morning to be doing that. So I now physically have to get out of bed, go downstairs and scan my phone for it to let me on the apps.
Oh, really? It's like
and
that?
I find that I don't even do it sometimes now till like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. And then that my whole morning's free now. And it just makes that little blocker is a massive, massive difference.
And also, I ever since 10 weeks ago, whenever it was, started doing some stuff on Instagram, just finding people like you. I followed you, I think, before, but like there's a whole world of these creators in finance, and it can be whatever, which is fantastic because I think everyone's got the same end game as me. Is you can understand it, you realize it has a massive importance in people's lives. It can help a lot of people.
It's a help thing, right?
Yeah. Just whereas half the thing on social media is just nonsense. I don't care about some 21-year-old in Palm Springs in half a bikini.
Exactly.
So
using social media for the right ways to educate yourself is a great tool, and 100% it brings people into your world as well and your way of thinking about things, because you should if someone only follows me as their only source of finance knowledge, I think that's a really bad thing. I think you should be following 5, 6 other people who all talk about the same topic to get nuanced opinions across all of them, to be able to formulate your own opinion from that thing. I think that's really right. But I want to go into some like finance questions.
Okay. Jesus. Fire away.
To hit you with it is, I think I'd love to know from your view, if you were to start again from today, so no savings, no investments, no house, no knowledge, and you were like little old you, or perhaps this is going to hit you from the angle of like, I'm in my 30s and I really should sort this out. Where would you start from day one?
So I would do the following, which is I would start reading, and there's so many books out there, great books, things. I read one recently, 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom, The Algebra of Wealth. I would just start off by trying to figure out and understand simple things like saving. I always say, don't spend more than you earn. If you earn £1 million and you spend £1.2 million, you've got a bit of a fucking problem. Don't buy useless shit you don't need. And the money that you do have left, invest it. So I would start and look at some, those books I mentioned would be a great starting point. And then I'd start to think about and work myself back from that and think, right, so let me look at my spending first of all, right? Where is my money going on? Income's very difficult to change just in day one, isn't it? So you can't wake up the following morning and suddenly decide to earn more money.
I'm going to get paid more today. Yeah.
So I would start and literally go line item by line item, download an Excel file of your bank statements and just as a baseline, understand where your money's going. From that, I would then, you don't need to pay for any templates or anything. Just create a Google sheet, list out your income, list out your expenditures. Where's your money going? That, to be honest, if you did that, you'd probably be ahead of 90% of people, because 90% of people probably don't even track that as their budget. So I would do that. Then I would really start to pay massive attention to investment accounts. So stocks and shares, ISA, everyone rabbits on about, but it's brilliant. And low cost index funds. Again, we're not the first person to say this on the internet. we won't be the last. But a low cost index fund like the S&P 500 is such an incredible, powerful tool for building wealth over such a long period. You can't comprehend, the mind cannot comprehend exponential growth and how quickly compound interest starts to work. And all these fancy terms. And I get so many questions from people like, what does this ticker mean? And, distribution and blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. And I get it. It is really confusing. It can be confusing. Certainly is confusing. But pay a little bit more attention to that will make you vastly ahead of 90% of people. And just set up a direct debit into a stocks and shares ISA, £200 a month, whatever it is, whatever you can afford. And do that consistency over a long time horizon, and you'll be perfectly fine. Your future self will thank you more than you can imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like the brain works not like human brain goes 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And compounding goes 2, 4, 8, 12.
It's like that phrase, if you could fold a piece of paper, I think it's 22 times, I think it would reach from Earth to the moon.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can't, but if you could fold a piece of paper 21 times, then, and that is basically just the exponential growth is just insane.
Yeah.
And you've spoken plenty of times with guests that you've had on this podcast. And I feel like compound interest is just, everyone just hears about it all the time and it's thrown around. Everyone goes, but no one actually does anything about it until you have guests on like in your podcast or you speak to people and people say, once you hit 100K, then it just goes insane.
It's nuts. Yeah, it really does explode because you're right. You said it earlier. 500 quid in a stocks and shares ISA, you get 10% growth on that. It's 50 quid.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, okay, but you get to 100 grand, 10%, you got 10 grand. That's a third of the average UK salary, and suddenly you're talking, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you're like, well, okay, I better carry on with this bloody thing. But it's going to be it's going to have taken you 10 plus years to have got to that 100K. If you're lucky, depending on how much you're putting in, of course.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not sexy as well. And people see people see these like Forex people online and people, flashing, all this quick money and whether it's Rolexes and girls in Dubai and blah, 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 all this nonsense. And you're swayed to that because it's easy. But, that consistency, like we spoke about before, of just having that, 10, 20, 30, Jesus Christ, even 40 years, what that can do is insane. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah. Do you save alongside investing as well?
No.
Straight investing.
Straight investing, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fair play.
I actually, my risk tolerance, I feel, has gotten to a place now where I'm more than happy to take bigger risks. I think at the start I did exactly what I say on all my videos and what you say is, low cost index funds. My risk has swayed a little bit more, I think, because I can take a bit more of that risk and I'm happy to do that. But I think for the majority of people, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
They really shouldn't because...
I'm exactly the same as you.
Yeah.
I went the other way. So I was like 90% risk on, realized actually I don't like that at all. And then went completely the other way. So flipped it. And then slowly, we teach the 80-20 principle.
Yeah.
It just makes a lot of sense. But actually at the moment, I'm more like 70-30 and it's slowly edging up and up and up because I'm seeing things. And I'm like, as more I spend time in certain spaces, you see more opportunities.
Yeah.
It's that knowledge factor. It's like, I'm seeing things now that I didn't see before. And so I'm going to take that punt and that risk and I'm happy to.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I'm set up. But you're right, like 99% of people on this planet set it up once, it takes 5 minutes, low cost index fund, go back to focusing on improving your income.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. 100%. Yeah. And just do that over a long time horizon. And you'll be completely fine.
Running a business is a juggling act. And when it comes to managing my money, I run all of my 3 businesses through Tide. But one of the smartest money moves that I've made is setting aside my business savings, especially for my tax pot. Tide's Instant Saver account offers up to 4% AER. What I like about Tide is how simple it is to use. You don't have to bank with Tide to open a savings account either. And you don't need a big deposit. You can get started with just £1. If you fund your account with £5,000, in the first 30 days, you'll receive £100 cash back. And that's a great incentive for saving smarter. There's even a calculator on Tide's website, which helps you forecast your interest, perfect for keeping track of your business finances. And yes, is FSCS protected up to the value of £85,000, so your savings are safe as well. New members receive up to 4% AER for the first 6 months. For the full T's and C's, visit tide.co/savings rate. Check it out via my link in the show notes below, and don't forget to use my promo code GAINS to unlock your cashback offer. When it comes to investing, choosing a stocks and shares ISA for me is one of the most important steps you can make, and it comes down to 3 things. What can I invest into? Are they trusted by their customers? And most importantly, how low are their fees? So after testing over 10 different providers, I have landed on Trading 212. They have an excellent mobile app with thousands of stocks and funds available, and they offer commission-free trading with 0 platform fees. Plus, they're fully FCA regulated and have FSCS protection up to the value of £85,000. And right now, they're offering listeners of this podcast a free share worth up to £100 when you deposit just £1 into your account. So if you're looking for a low-cost stocks and shares ISA to start investing, it's hard to look anywhere else other than Trading 212. Use the code MGP for Money Gains Podcast to grab your free share today. We've got to this point now where, earning a pretty decent wage still requires you to, have you and your other half in work and your dog. Everyone's got to be bringing some money into the house. And that feels like a big difference to even, 40 odd years ago, where the nuclear family was still a thing. It still exists. You could kind of get a house on one income and bring in enough money to sort of sustain a family life. Where's it gone wrong, do you think?
Where has it gone wrong? Jesus. That is a really big question, because, ever since, I think really the topping point was 2008. That financial crisis and the debt burdens that government took on from that have been very hard to get back from. It really snowballed after 2020. I mean, that has just, everyone can feel that, even myself, I think, Jesus Christ, that house used to be 200 grand, it's now 400 grand. Ever since COVID, governments around the world have realized they have a real big problem. They have a debt problem. There is literally no way out of the government debt problem. It has reached escape velocity. Governments have to print money. That money inflates asset prices. Your price of your house goes up. The stock market goes up, which is great for us. But
if you own assets. Yeah.
It's really been a case of, government debt has just snowballed. A big thing is, big problem I see further down the line is, and people are trying to talk about it now, is we have a demographic problem. We've got an issue with, potential pension crisis. Further down the line, people are not having kids anymore. I've got 2 kids. Have you got any?
No kids.
No kids, no.
Yeah.
I'm probably the odd one out within my friendship group of having kids.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm the other way.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, most of mine have now.
Have they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just my friendship group tends to, people are just leaving it longer and longer, aren't they? Mainly because they can't afford it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have people are not having kids anymore, we have to keep people in the workforce, because you have to create, you have those people generating taxable income and that sort of thing. So more and more people are going to have to stay in the workforce. The government are increasing the age you can access a private pension to 57, aren't they? Is it 2028 or 2028?
Yeah.
They know that they need to keep people in the workforce, because they can see it down the line that people are not having kids anymore. People are living older. So that is a big problem, that demographic issue as well. And how do you solve the demographic issue is very difficult, because it is incredibly difficult to incentivize people to have kids.
Yeah.
If people can't afford kids, they just can't. I did read some Spanish village is actually paying people to have kids.
Yeah, China are now.
Are they? Yeah. It's insane.
It's mad, isn't it?
But if you imagine, I've got a younger sister who's 21. She is, she's just left university, 55 grand's worth of student debt. She did dance at university. Jesus Christ, don't ask me why. But so she's got 55 grand's worth of student debt. I think that the interest rate on that's 7% or 6% or something. Yeah,
Never paying that
I mean, they're laughing. Unbelievable. You know, house prices round our way. I have no idea how she's going to afford a house on her income. She's probably going to have to share, you know, a room with someone in a house or multiple occupancy, whatever it is. And then she's probably not going to have kids because she can't afford them, because, you know, either she's still living at my parents' house or that's a huge, big problem. But I think, you know, this problem's only going to be exacerbated, and the only way to try and save yourself, sounds so dramatic, and I hate this like doom porn, but is, you know, you want to own assets, and you don't want liabilities. And assets can be anything, you know, it can be a house, Jesus Christ, could be art, whatever it is. For me, it's
could be a stock
yeah
fund for £1.
Yeah,
you still own an asset.
Yeah, you own an asset. You want assets, you don't want liabilities. But, you know,
would you include the house in that then? Because obviously a house is a liability technically.
Yeah, see, this is where it gets a little bit. So I've sort of changed my tune a bit on houses, because who cares what you call it, an asset or a liability, right? What you're going to do, live in a tent on the side of the road?
Exactly.
You know, it's more you want to have a nice space. It's where you live. Like, you can't, if suddenly you start, everything doesn't need to be a line item on a spreadsheet and thinking, right, is that an asset? Is that a liability? I mean, technically, you know, if you're saying, you know, I have a mortgage on my house, I'm liable for that mortgage payment each month. If I don't pay that mortgage payment each month, guess what? The bank's going to book and take my house. So, you know, there is that.
But it's going up in value.
It's going up in it's going up in value. Yeah. There's limited amount of them. Certainly, we live in an island, so that you can't build that many houses. So, yeah, I think, yeah, I don't worry whether a house is an asset or a liability. You just, you know, have a nice place to live. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, mate, since COVID, since 2020, to come back to your original question, everything's just gotten so much more expensive. You see this, I see this. You probably see it in the comments from people asking you about help. I see it sometimes from people, you know, single mums. I'm saying single mums because it tends to be single mums, but message me and say, like, I'm really struggling. I've got a kid, and, you know, I struggling to keep up with rent. Honestly, I have no idea how, if you're in this country and you're on whatever the minimum salary is or the minimum salary in the UK is, or what average salary or whatever that is, if you're on your own and you've got a kid and you're trying to survive, it's unbelievable. And I think, really, I've started to see, and you'll see and everyone will start to see on social media, there is this like anti-UK thing at the moment. Everyone's like, leaving the UK, I'm sick and tired of it. And it comes around in winter when it's pissing down with rain. It's all right now when it's 21 degrees. Everyone kind of forgets a little bit about it. And then it creeps back in November when it's been raining for the past 14 days and you can't get out and you can't go to a beer garden and that sort of thing.
It's literally freezing.
Yeah, literally freezing.
Yeah.
And I think that I think, without meaning to get political, but ever since Labour government came in, was it a year ago? Everyone kind of thought, right, let's have a new slate. You know, things are, you know, we've had whatever we've had previously. Let's kind of clear the slate and let's start again. And it just, as per usual, and as whatever government, Labour, Tory, whatever it is, it's just all the same.
Yeah. No,
all the same.
Yeah.
And central banks and the printing of money, all of that is just own assets.
Yeah. We perhaps have changed our mindset, like we live for today very much now rather than thinking about the future. And I see it a lot. You know, I drive around some of the, you know, council estates in the UK, but you look on the driveways, BMWs, Audis, you know, go down the high street, it's normal looking lads. Obviously, they may be fake, but 700 quid Balenciagas, cheap debt coming out their eyeballs, credit cards maxed up to other things. You know, do we have a priority problem here in the UK, or is there something else going on, do you think?
Yeah, I think, we do have a priority problem. people want to treat themselves with nice things, and that's, they can, you know, if they can afford it, then that's perfectly fine. If you want to buy a 10 grand Rolex or 20 grand, however much they are, then far away. But people are too fast to jump at that and try and get whatever that is, because whether it makes them feel good or they want to impress people or whatever.
Status.
That status, I mean, status games are, you know, it's a zero-sum game, isn't it? When you start playing that game, it's dangerous. And when your friends start getting things and you're comparing yourself to other people, I mean, you do some brilliant posts around this sort of thing, but you know, that comparing yourself to people is so dangerous. That they call it, I think it's comparison theory or something like that, that before social media, I hate to bring it back to social media, but before social media, like my dad's 60 odd, he used to compare himself to his probably mates, 7 best mates, right? So, next door neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be going, oh, he's good at football, he's good at tennis, I'm shit at tennis, but I'm good at, you know, whatever.
It's so true, yeah.
Whereas now you've got basically 8 billion people to compare yourself to. My sister has it all the time. She said to me the other day, like, I can't remember, some girl she follows on TikTok, some 24-year-old flying in a private jet to the Maldives. She's like, how does it? I was like, listen, it's nonsense, right? The odds of a 24-year-old, I mean, I don't fly private jets, but I have a pilot's license, so I kind of understand how much that cost would be from London to the Maldives. It's probably about 100 grand. For a 24-year-old to be able to afford that, right? There is likely a couple hundred of people in the UK who could do that at 24 years old.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of them sports people.
Yeah.
Maybe the odd people, like certain individuals who have sold a business, or there's probably maybe 500 24-year-olds that could afford to drop.
Extreme talent or extreme silver spoon.
Exactly. Incredibly rare. Incredibly rare. But then we'll see that and we'll think, fucking hell, what am I doing wrong here? Why am I going to this office job and going to this call center, working my ass off all day, and I'm not getting anywhere, and everything's getting more expensive and I can't do anything about it, and I'm seeing these people on, you know, going Maldives and all this sort of thing. So that big comparison theory is a real big problem. But I think, you know, coming back to your original question around people buying stuff and that sort of thing, it's kind of like, you know, ever since finance has been a big problem in terms of being able to finance things, you know, like buy now, pay later, and the ability to have, you know, geez, I didn't realize, but everything. I didn't realize you could buy a watch on 0% finance. I had no idea you could do that. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Anything. You think of, literally anything.
A wedding.
Yeah, a wedding. Yeah. Oh my God, mate.
A concert ticket.
Yeah. Deliveroo.
Don't start me on that. Man. Jesus Christ.
Do you know what I mean? It's so, if you've got that being shoved down your neck and it's so easy at the click of a button as well, you see it like, and they now like, they've removed it now, but back in the day they used to put a ring around it and like make it pop forward on the screen.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I could just not pay for it. I don't have to pay for it for 6 months. Sweet.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, I can afford it then.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in 6 months, I'm going to be nailing it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm definitely getting a promotion.
Yeah.
And like, we stick that in our brains and suddenly we've got all this stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, what I've come to realize, because I played that game, I was the status game, and I got myself in debt and I maxed myself out to the eyeballs, you know, fancy jackets and everything you could think of. Always turning up to nights out, going to expensive bars which I couldn't afford, and putting a credit card down. And you know, back in the day, you just give them the credit card, and then they'd come over with a £700 bill, and you'd be like, in your head, you'd be like, "What am I doing?" But then you'd be like, "Yeah,
I'll worry about it in 30 days."
Yeah, well, you're just playing that game, right?
Is that how you got into so much debt? Was literally just
playing the game?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
All credit card debt, was it? Yeah.
90% of it.
Really?
Yeah. It just, you know, we had money coming in from little businesses and doing good things, but I was living a life that was exactly that. 1 million, you spend $1 million, spend 1.2. I was doing that.
Yeah.
And it just caught up with me. And, you know, it was a bit of a hard look at yourself and looking at actually, like, does any of this stuff actually make me happy? Like, has it really improved my life? Like, you drive the car off the forecourt, you get to the end of the road, you're like, most of the time, a large amount of the time, obviously, you know, be nice to get in a Porsche every now and then. I'm not going to lie, but
yeah, I mean, we all want nice things, don't we?
Yeah, you do, but like the novelty wears off, is what I'm trying to say. With a large amount of purchases, especially tech. Look in your fucking garage.
Yeah.
There's boxes of stuff, right? New thing comes out, you need that now, because it's got a brand new camera or a new feature on it or whatever that is, and you just play that game with yourself. And I still do to some extent. There's certain things that I'm like, I love my Nike gear, I love my Carhartt stuff, and like, I'm all right with that. That's the decisions that I've made. But you wouldn't catch me dead in a Gucci watch, or like, I just wouldn't buy it. I just couldn't bring myself to.
I can't imagine you with a Gucci watch.
No, mate, it wouldn't happen.
Nice Rolex or Breitling or something.
Exactly. I've got taste. Bit of Patek Philippe. Now we're talking. No. But you know what I mean? Like that would wear off. I would only buy that if I could buy it like 50 times over in cash, and that's potentially even then. So. I've seen the value of like investing into myself and my relationships and the values and my businesses and doing the things which provide me value since then. And it's taken a while. I wear a lot less design than I ever did, but you get to that point.
Was it hard when you took that first step of thinking, Jesus Christ, I got myself in a real hole here? Was it hard to try and think, there's no way out here? Like, how do I get rid of? How much was the debt that you had?
24K.
24K. Yeah. So it's still, it's an unbelievable amount on a credit card. Unbelievable amount. You really went for it, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like people like that.
I had a great time.
You're gonna go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. Just proper mess yourself up. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I loved it at the same time. At the time, I thought it was great. And then when I realised it wasn't. And then I was paying out more in interest than what I could actually pay to service the debt. And that's when it slaps you around the chops. I'd have probably still been going if I hadn't had a little moment, which is basically a friend of mine said to me, like, when do you want to retire? And I was like, 50. And he went to me, when do you want to pass away? And I said, 80 would be nice. And then he said, right, cool, how much you spend a year? And I said a number, and then he goes, well, times that by that. Have you got that? And I went, well, no, I've got minus 24 grand. And he was like, well, what?
Yeah.
And that was my wake up moment. And I was like, okay, because I was interested in money. I was interested in business. I was interested in entrepreneurship. I always had businesses. I just was rubbish at cash flow, and then thought I was, Billy Big Bollocks.
Yeah.
And that, it comes back round to bite you. And as soon as I flipped that round, it's a process of 18 months.
Is that how long it took you to get out of that? Yeah, fair play.
I went hard on the side hustles, hard on the businesses, evaluation, awareness, line by line items, tracked everything to an absolute hilt. Went, through house parties instead of going to the swanky bars, did different things, and it very quickly changes around. And then when you hit zero, it's like, well, what now?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now it's time to kick on and put into place. And it's funny when you have that kind of growth mindset instead of the consumerism mindset.
Yeah.
Then everything switches around. You're like, well, why would I spend that quid on that thing if I could invest that money and in 10 years' time it's going to pay me back that quid to be able to do those things anyway? So I'd rather have that mentality.
Yeah.
And it changes everything, right?
Yeah, it's like when you see I watched quite a few of those Dave Ramsey clips on YouTube, and you see, I mean, you had 24,000, Jesus Christ, some of the people in there, unbelievable. And you just think, how have you managed? Like, you've given that, like, you've gone for it there, haven't you? To get yourself in $500,000 worth of debt. Unbelievable.
But they have like unsecured student loan debts, don't they?
Yes,
That's
they do,
crazy.
Yeah. The US,
mad.
With student loans in the US is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it's what you see. Yeah, like we've
200 grand.
We've got 200 grand in student loan debt. I'm like, what the hell did you study?
I know, yeah.
And then they're earning 40 grand at Target, and it blows my mind with the US. But thankfully in the UK it's like structured to income. But even then, we're not given that foundation. Like I turned up to university with open bushy tail ideas of like, let's enjoy Freshers Week, and Barclays Bank turned around and went, here's two grand, and I was like, wow. And then here's another grand on a credit card.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, cool, let's go have some fun.
And
then, I've got to pay that back, and then you take out debt to fund that debt, more debt to fund that debt, and then you're away. So it can easily be done.
100%.
When it comes to investing, though, as a nation, we are savers rather than investors, and it is a bit of an issue. Obviously, we've seen Rachel Reeves recently flirt with the idea of reducing the cash ISA rate. Obviously, she decided against that for the time being. that could obviously be subject to change. But obviously there's a drive from not just the politicians, but equally us as well, because we see the value of investing over saving in the long term. But in your opinions, how do we go about changing this?
Yeah, so I've tried to think about this question quite a few times. Like, how do we change the UK into away from saving and into investing? And I think the US have kind of got it. The US are certainly ahead of us in terms of that. Like, they're very, and I don't know whether that's just because the country tends to be quite entrepreneurial. It has a lot of risk takers in that country, and they kind of incentivize it to an extent in the US. In the UK, I just think it's culturally, it's been baked in. I remember my parents saying, my parents didn't mention anything about investing ever. It was all about, save your pocket money. I had a paper round. I think I earned 17 quid a week. Loved it. Best job I've ever had.
It was great.
So good. On your bike, nipping about.
Yeah,
didn't have anyone to
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had no one to tell you what to do. You could figure out your little round yourself.
Yeah.
17 quid a week. Flying. Probably had more money then than I do now. In terms of
legit, yeah. And all I did was spend it on computer games or CDs.
Yeah. And I think, so my parents were always very saving and, make sure you save your pocket money, and that thing. It's kind of been drilled into us just generation after generation, and maybe governments incentivizing saving, and, that sort of, saving accounts has always been a big thing as well. And then to try and change that, I mean, listen, you probably speak to a lot more people than I do in terms of people who teach finance and who are maybe financial advisors, but, we need to teach financy stuff in schools. I honestly don't know if it's being taught now. I presume it's not. I think maybe there's probably a cost element of how much that would be to try and
train the
teachers and, all the things around that. But I'd love to see, I did business studies from like year 9 to year 11, whatever it was. Even just little things around saving, just simple things around, investing and compounding, and just even like half an hour to show kids. I'm so surprised that there's nothing baked into a school curriculum that is around. I know I'm talking about saving, where we are a culture of savers, but just anything to do with money is so surprising that has not been talked about. Or
we do learn about it in maths, but the way it's taught is textbook. Like, this is compounding, and this is how it works. It's like that. Mate, I'm 14. Like, light me up a bit. Like, today, guys, we're going to teach. I'm playing Jeff Bezos. You're all in this. This is how we're going to invest in these departments. We do this. I'll be like, whoa, cool. This is going to be fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would light you up a different way, but then you understand compounding in that way, or whatever that might all be. Like, I'm Warren Buffett, the most famous investor of all time. You're all different companies. This is how we're going to learn about it today. Like, it'd be sick, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be well engaged with that. But it's I suppose it comes down to the teachers themselves and knowing it themselves and having the confidence to understand that. And it's way easier to knock out a textbook than it is
100%.
to teach the kids properly. And I'm not having a dig at teachers. They do a fantastic job in this country, but simple cold hard facts when it comes to this stuff. Like, there needs to be a level of meeting the kids where they're at, and they're in that TikTok generation of like, I want information and I want it fun.
But I do think, culturally, we're just a very like risk averse type of country, aren't we? And saving is that, and there's nothing wrong with saving, at all. Over a long period of time, your money will it's like an ice cube. It'll just melt away. As we see since 2008, and especially since 2020, just melt away. So I think, look, to answer your question, like I said before, we're just culturally just being ingrained into us about saving and that risk aversion. I even had a friend ask me the other day, I've had money in a savings account for 12 years, I think he said. Whatever percent it is, I have no idea, because I don't put money into a savings account specifically. And I just thought to myself, you imagine all the things that have happened in 12 years.
Yeah.
If that money had been put into the market.
Mental.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's just 12 years. So
yeah.
30 years, whatever.
I think I agree. I think that you have to think about savings on a short-term basis. That's the only way I think about it. Like, there's things that happen every single year. Christmas, holidays, car insurance, etc., etc. You're going to be paying for those whether you like it or not. Sue's birthday, unless Sue, cans it off, like, you're going to be paying for it every year. So save for those things, and then literally anything else you could put aside, just get it away.
Yeah, get it away. And you had a brilliant guest. I actually follow him on Instagram. He released a book. Ryan
King.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the book.
Money Made Simple.
But he made a really good point. Yeah, Money Made Simple. That's it. He made a really good point about taxing yourself. Taxing yourself first, and it's the best tax you'll ever pay.
Yeah. Totally love that.
Yeah, brilliant line.
Yeah, no, I agree. Whatever way in your mind can set it up, like if it's tax yourself, pay yourself first, whatever is the thing that gets you into it.
Yeah.
Like whatever mental trigger you need to pull to make yourself do it, pull it. Because it is life changing. But talking about your own investments as well, I come across a video you did, and you are a massive advocate of investing into tech.
Yes.
Specifically, and there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of what I post online is exactly what we've spoke about, which is low cost index funds for 95% of people. When I got to a certain level, I was always nervous about saying like the amount of money you've got, because I don't know.
You're a multi-millionaire, mate.
No, far from. But it's just a weird thing. It's a weird thing to speak about, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Tough, yeah.
I know some people online do it, but
I do it, and then I find I go through phases of finding it really difficult.
Yeah, I just think it can certain friends or family, and then it just, I don't know. It's not other people on the internet. It's more
100%.
It's more like, all right, so yeah.
Are you paying for dinner?
Yeah, maybe that, and maybe put more people saying, well, and that people just thinking like, fucking hell, Tom's sat on whatever, and he's worrying about X, Y, Z. Just
that's how I got there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I see it even with like close family members. They look at you different. They talk to you differently. And it's not like I'm not trying to do this to show off. I'm trying to do this to help others, to show them what's possible, because I'm just an everyday person, right? So that's all the only reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because it might kick that person in, Hull into gear.
Exactly.
And if they do, great. Like, I've done my job. So I feel like that's the only reason I do it. And then I go through phases of being like, it's all right to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, whoa, don't feel comfortable.
A bit weird. But so kind of got to a level
so you're
where
a millionaire.
No. Kind of got to a level where I was happy with.
Yeah.
And then just to come back on the technology question, what I really wanted to take more risk, which, like I said, for 95% of people, like, if you're just, working a normal job, you just want to put it into an index fund and forget about it and let it, let time work its magic. The world is getting more digital. The simple phrase is, will the world be more digital in 10 years? Yes, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Technology doesn't care, and specifically technology stocks. We think about the Magnificent Seven, so Amazon, Alphabet, Tesla to some extent, doesn't care about interest rates, doesn't care about what central banks are doing. It just snowballs so quick. We've seen what Nvidia's done in basically since 2022. November 2022, when ChatGPT came around. I think technology is just an unbelievable play for getting outsized returns. I think the simple question, and they do that IQ graph where on that distribution curve on the left, you've got like someone who's in their IQ on the bottom, someone who's dead like stupid, and then you've got like on the far right of the IQ, you've got like a wizard or a Jedi, and both of them say, will the world be more digital in 10 years? Yes, it will. And everyone in the middle curve of the distribution of the bell curve, says, what about this? What about that? What about central banks? What about interest rates? What about blah, blah, blah? It doesn't matter. The world will be more digital in 10 years. So that is my theory. That is really why I buy it. And specifically, if you want to go into the nth degree, is some people, people hate this company. I've never really understood why people hate this company, but I have a sizable amount in Tesla. I think Tesla is just, I own a Tesla, have done for 2 months. I think it's the best car I've ever owned. Yeah.
You could have been winding a few people up, aren't you? It's mad, isn't it? How people have gone crazy about it.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I don't get involved in the Elon thing and all the play. Like, I just think it, yeah. And it's so funny. Tesla is a little bit like crypto, you know. Crypto evokes an emotion from people that I haven't really seen before, where people go, it's bullshit and it's a scam. And don't get me wrong, a lot of it is just nonsense, right? And a lot of the use case of it is gambling, which is fine. That can be a use case. But yeah, Tesla, I just think is the most incredible company over the next 10 to 15 years. I know a lot of people are going to hate that, and people are just furious, and people are going to get so wound up. I try not to get emotional about things like that, just because when you bring emotion in, then it starts to cave the way a little bit, and you're thinking, so yeah, we'll see.
So are you still buying index funds, or just solely?
Yeah, I do it in my pension.
Nice.
Yeah, I do that. And then in the stocks and shares ISA,
a bit more aggressive
is all aggressive. Yeah.
And that's how you set yourself up like that, and that's the kind of risk levels you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah. But like I said before, Sammy, you know, the amount of people, if you're I don't know, 32-year-olds working in a IT company, and you're not worried about what's going on in the world in terms of, like, you know, central banks or whatever, or what's Trump doing this time or whatnot, tariffs, all of that stuff. Index fund all the way.
Yeah,
it's why I haven't spoken about it on the thing, just because for a lot of people, it's not. At the end of the day, I'm trying to help people, right? So, like you are. So that's why I've gone down that avenue. So.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult if you turn up and be like, buy Tesla. Do you know what I mean? It's not people. Not gonna react well. Though I do love a bit of push and pull in some of my videos, because you just know that the two sides.
Do you own a Tesla or not?
No, I have looked.
Have you?
Yeah. I think I like you. I couldn't give a toss what Elon does.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't care.
I think they make brilliant cars.
Exactly. There's a business, and yes, he is the head of it, and he has some questionable views, and he's done some questionable things. But at the end of the day, do the cars bang? Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, fire.
And that's all I look at. And plus, as well, electric car subsidies through your business. It's great.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's great. Brings my tax bill down. But we are moving in a couple of weeks. The missus has told me I'm not allowed to spend any more money that I can't spend on. Everything's going towards this bloody house move. So by the time this comes out, hopefully we've got in there, because if I haven't, then I'm gonna. It's been going on for nearly a year.
It's a nightmare moving house.
It's crazy, man. Yeah. But I loved your video last week. You said about being professional. And I loved it. It was like, because for me, I've kind of made my living off not being a grey suit brigade. Like, I like being a bit fun. I don't take myself too seriously. And I think in finance, especially, that can be 99.9% of the people in finance. And when someone comes out a little bit different, not conforming, it's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So for you, why do you think it's important not to conform and always be professional?
Yeah, so I think just to caveat that phrase of not being professional, obviously that doesn't have, some people might evoke an emotion that means just like not giving a fuck about anything. It doesn't. But what it means is, obviously be nice to people, don't be a knob and that sort of thing. It's more a case of, the world doesn't need more people that say fancy corporate lingo, like let's circle back and low hanging fruit and, everything that comes along with being professional as such. All those, I see on people on LinkedIn, Jesus Christ, on LinkedIn's an unbelievable platform for just nonsense, right? And I think the world doesn't need more people like that. It needs people who take risks, ruffle feathers, says, like you set up this, your business, you just gone, fuck it, let's do it. Like, that's what the world needs, more people like that. It's difficult to say to a 21-year-old when they're trying to find a job, don't be professional. It doesn't mean that, obviously if you're going to, be on time.
And
Jesus Christ. Be on time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But have something about you, take risks. I remember when I was like 21.
Don't be another number.
Yeah, exactly.
In the system.
100%.
Try and push yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Do things like you know, like coming down to London for this, like a bit nervous, thinking, oh God, you know, but just fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? Just do stuff.
Yeah.
And don't be that like, and a lot of people fall into, certainly in big corporate companies, and where, you know, you are just not necessarily a number, but you do suddenly, you are your environment, and you suddenly start saying phrases, and you just suddenly then get comfortable, and all of that stuff. You just don't be professional.
Have a cold, hard look at yourself every now and then. And
Yeah.
go, that ain't me.
Yeah. It's like when I started writing about financy stuff, like saving and, you know, investing, that sort of thing. And I was writing along with it and thinking, this is just not me, this. I'm just like... And
I
then
sound like everyone else.
Like everyone else. Yeah. And I just thought, fuck it.
Which is what ChatGPT will give you these days, right? Like, it just will. It'll just give you a conformed answer.
Yeah.
And you actually have to go and sprinkle a bit of sauce on it to even make it sound semi-human.
Exactly.
Which is like, yeah. That's why for me, I think actually when they say, oh, copywriters are going to go away, I just can't. I just always think there's going to be room for someone with a bit of like raw talent and emotion, which is going to be extremely difficult to match.
Yeah, you can't do that with ChatGPT. Yeah.
Which is why I think content like yours is extremely difficult to replicate, because it's like it's you, and you're wearing a different top, and you're in a different field, and you're having a great time, and you're just delivering some like it feels off the cuff, but it's clearly planned.
You know, think about it and try and
but it's got that element of rawness to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's extremely, extremely hard for anyone to replicate. And it's just that level of like, I'm not conforming. I'm not sitting down. I'm not doing a talking head video with fancy lights and like, you know, spending $2,000 on a camera. I'm just turning up and I'm just showing the world who I am and giving them that rather than what you expect of me to be. And guess what, you get views and you blow up like you have, and I think it's class. I think if more people can do that in any way, shape or form, whatever's your vice, writing, content, you know, even just, you know, being a bit different in the workplace or the way that you approach your sales strategy or whatever that might well be, or when you answer the phone you have a little bit of a banter with the person on the other end, like, you know, that's going to serve you well in so many different spheres of life, right?
Sammy,
So, mate, I've absolutely loved this, but I just wanted to say, Chloe, because you mentioned it earlier, you're a pilot.
Yeah, so I did my pilot's license.
That's so fucking cool.
In 2022, yeah. 2022.
So you solo now?
Yes, yeah. So potter around in P8, what's called a Piper PA28, just single engine, 4 seats in the back. Did it because I needed to get away from probably my wife and 2 kids, and just wanted to say,
do you stick them in the back or you leave them at home?
Leave them there, leave them at home. It's like half a day out for me. I can just no phones, nothing, and you can just think about. And you know, you just don't want to kill yourself every single time you go. So it's quite it's something else. It's absolutely brilliant. It's not crazy amount of money what people would expect to do it.
Do you borrow the plane when you go out?
Yeah, just borrow it. Yeah, I mean, what's the phrase? If it sails, if it flies, or I can't remember the other one.
I don't know.
They just rent it. I think.
Okay, yeah.
Can't remember the phrase, but yeah, it's easier to rent it, and then you don't have any of the problems.
And how far can you go when you go in one of them engines? Is it?
So you could. I'm trying to think the endurance. You could probably. I mean, Jesus, if you wanted to go to Ibiza, you could go to Ibiza.
Oh, really?
But you couldn't do it in one. You'd have to stop,
land and come back out.
But to be honest, Sammy, you'd be better just jumping on a Ryanair flight and it gets you there in 2 hours rather than and you can have a drink.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think I love flying.
Yeah,
fantastic. I did paramotoring, which is basically paragliding with you've got a motor on the back of you strapped. You might have seen them sometimes in.
Yeah, you can hear them go over.
That was really cool. And then I always wanted to do my pilot's license, so I did that. But yeah, in 2022 and flying around, taking mates, going different places.
That's class, yeah.
So I think I'm flying next Wednesday, actually, yeah. So looking forward to it.
It's a cool hobby, though, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it's so good.
Yeah.
It is expensive, but it's there's just something quite liberating about just saying, right, let's just go flying. And take off and you go wherever.
Is that a plan in the future? Maybe get your own little plane?
I'd love to, yeah. There's my dream, and if anyone who flies will know this plane, but it's fucking so expensive, is a Cirrus SR22. Beautiful plane. I think they retail brand new for about 1.2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful plane.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to have a goal, haven't you?
Fair, yeah, go for it.
You wouldn't buy it brand new, you'd get it secondhand, but love to. That's like I mean, it's a long way off, but I'd love to do get something like that.
Compound and get you there.
Yeah, there's me talking there. Don't buy Rolex, buy a Cirrus 1.2.
It's fine at 1.2 million. Yeah, I'm going big.
If you're gonna do it, do it
go
properly.
big. Yeah, do it properly. Yeah, no, I love that, mate. But look, I've loved this. You've been a great guest, and really appreciate you coming on. But where can people find your Instagram? Because definitely encourage people to go.
Yeah, just so my name's Tom Wickstead, so tom.wickstead. Just follow me there. I don't have anything to sell, nothing, until some company offers me. So I'll fucking do anything.
Well, hopefully that gets you over the line, mate. But look, it's been a real pleasure.
Mate, you're a star. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
And we'll chat soon.
Thank you, mate.